Do you think Islam is at war with the West?
I think Islam hates us.
Brother, what's that?
MashaAllah, brother!
I've been Muslim. It's built a deeper connection between me and God. And I'm praying more. I'm fasting currently for Ramadan. And I've been more charitable ever since becoming religious. So the way of life has offered me a lot of hope. As I've been reading the Quran, it's confirmed a lot more truth. From when I was reading the Bible, I had a lot of misunderstandings.
The Quran is preserved and pure, whereas previous scriptures have been corrupted or even lost.
And inshallah, my parents will start to realize that the truth is very simple. One God, many messengers, same message.
من ربك؟
ربي الله.
من نبيك؟
محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
ما دينك؟
دين الإسلام.
And we have to do good for our fellow man. And I think that's most important for all of us. We need to do the best we can to honor our Creator.
MashaAllah, brother!
I'm sure a lot of you have seen that clip where former President Trump mentions that, quote unquote, Islam hates us. And I think besides politicians, I think that many of the general public within the West, Westerners generally, still have this type of sentiment, this type of feeling about Islam and Muslims. But as things are turning somewhat in a way where Islam is again the focus, I do believe that Islam was the focus, perhaps around the early 2000s, let's say, due to the Iraq War and so on and so forth. Islam again is under in the limelight. And so people are really assessing and analyzing what Islam and what Muslims are all about, And fortunately for them, they get to see Islam in a more objective light and to see Islam for what it is really. And of course, people are being influenced and being touched by what Islam has to say. And I mean, this is just one typical example. And, young people, old people, those in between, they are seeing things that, that Islam has to offer, especially considering the issues and the problems that the West is facing. And so I think that Islam really is not only a problem solver in terms of the material aspect of things, the worldly issues that are occurring, but also within oneself. There's a sense of peace, there's a sense of stability in that sense, which I think, again, a lot of Westerners are lacking.
Many Christians spiritually say that I feel more peaceful when I pray to Jesus, my prayer got accepted, my child was sick and he got cured. So how do you explain this?
Look, at the end of the day, there's going to be people who say the same thing about devil worshipping and Judaism or Hinduism. There's going to be someone who jumps into the Ganges River, a Hindu, and he comes in and he goes out and he thinks that that's helped his life somehow. So this can never be an evidence because it's not demonstrative. It's personal experience. You could be making a false inference. You could be making a false cause and effect relationship and all those kind of things. So I would say this cannot be an evidence that you can use to prove that your religion is true. Not least because how do I know you're even speaking the truth?
Whoever has La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, and he says this sincerely, he's a Muslim whether you like it or not, whether he prays in your masjid or not, whether he follows your imam or not, whether he prays and fasts at the same, it doesn't change. It does not change the fact, excuse me, wallahi forgive me, whoever has iman and tawheed and clearly says it, whether you like it or not, your mashayikh accept it or not, it doesn't change the fact that he's a Muslim. And unless there is clear kufr on his tongue and on his hands, he's a believer whether you like it or not, he's a part of the ummah.
One of the companions of the Prophet, upon whom be peace, in fact one of his most senior companions, Ibn Abbas, is reported to have said, "How can you ask the people of the scriptures about their books while you have the book of Allah, which is the most recent of the books revealed by Allah, and you read it in its pure, undistorted form?" That's a hadith from Sahih Bukhari.
أين الله؟
السماء.
إصبعك. لا اليمين.
السماء.
أين الله؟
السماء.
في السماء. ما معنى لا إله إلا الله؟
ما أود بحق إلا الله.
كم أركان لا إله إلا الله؟
2.
ما هما؟
اللي يشبع.
ما شاء الله.
Which religion can you see holding true to its values? Islam. When it comes to people preaching their faith proudly, which faith would you say? Islam. When it comes to a logical doctrine that just makes sense. For example, if I tell a 6-year-old child, believe in God, goes yes. God the Father, the Son, Holy Spirit. They are 3, but they are 1. Do you think that it will make sense to them? If you ask another child, God is 1, He's powerful, He's not like the human being, is he going to be confused? You've got people that will speak to you for 15 minutes trying to convince you the nature of God. I'll tell you the nature of God in 5 seconds, probably even less. God is 1, none worthy of worship besides Him. That's it. That's our view.
I think this is one of the many attractive things about Islam. The fact that it won't be infiltrated, it refuses to be infiltrated or affected by the trending ideology of the day. And in this case, Western ideology, Western ideas, and the value systems, which, I think has, or definitely have, infiltrated most religions or other cultures and traditions. I mean, we've seen pride flags, for instance, in churches and so on. And I feel, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And this type of notion which Islam has attracted the likes of, figures like Andrew Tate and Sneeko and what have you. And even those, the enemies of Islam, those who take issue with Islam, they admit themselves that Islam has this intolerance towards, anything that it disagrees with, which I think is good.
Life is short, bro. We don't know when we're gonna die. Fame, money, riches, broads, everything is temporary in this world. The most important thing is that you recognize who's your creator and you worship that creator. The one God, the one Allah, the one that sent all the prophets. That one, that's not a man, it's not a woman, it's not a child, it's not an ape, it's not a monkey, it's not an elephant, none of that. It's that one creator that created everything, the universes and all that, right? That is going to be more important than anything else in life.
I heard a lot of young people say to me now, why does Islam say everything is haram, haram, haram? This is not true. Islam does not say everything is haram. But when there's so much haram around us and corruption, Islam looks like it's forbidden everything. But because we live in a time where the Prophet ﷺ told us that sins will be taken lightly and that modesty will be very invaluable, which leads us to that human life becomes invaluable. Human life becomes invaluable.
I think this is about general sensibilities. And of course, we could say, yes, we have certain backgrounds, we have our childhood and, whatever else that's within our experiences that has led us to adapt certain habits. Nonetheless, there is the, let's say, societal pressure, the societal influence, the general way of things, which makes Islam appear that it's strict and difficult and strenuous in a way. It constricts you. And I would agree to an extent that yes, it does constrict you. But if it is that you live an Islamic lifestyle, you wouldn't see things that are forbidden as, things that you really want almost. Of course, there is the animalistic desire. There is the fact that you make mistakes here or there. But nonetheless, Islam is a good means to curb yourself. And if everyone could curb themselves, then of course you're looking at a better society. A society where there's less alcohol, less gambling, less drugs. People are more modest, and so on and so forth. So you could see it as constriction, or you could see it as a blessing.
What's that?
MashaAllah, brother.